Hello viewers and a very warm welcome. You're watching India Fights Back with your host Kriti Mishra. Indiscriminate steroid usage and high blood sugar levels are potentially responsible for driving an uptick in a rare fungal infection among vulnerable COVID-19 patients. Public health experts are blaming the indiscriminate use of steroids to treat COVID-19 as a likely cause. Steroids reduce inflammation in the lungs, but overuse of these drugs in COVID-19 patients can result in lowered immunity and raise blood sugar levels. These conditions leave some patients, particularly those with uncontrolled diabetes, susceptible to such infections. During COVID-19, patients prescribed heavy and prolonged steroid doses can have weakened immune systems. Long-term use of steroid coupled with high requirements of high oxygen flow. Steroids are an external or artificial form of a certain kind of chemical which is produced in our body. And why is it so important to always rely on medical advice before consuming steroids? Let's find out from our distinguished panelists on the show today. Joining me on the program, Professor N.N. Mathur, Director and Additional DGHS, LHMC, New Delhi, and Dr. Sameer Gupta, Director, Cardiac Cath Lab, Metro Group of Hospitals. Welcome to Lots of our television, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Gupta, coming to you first. We understand that steroid reduces inflammation, but what is a steroid? And before the pandemic struck us, where and how was it used?
Yes, so steroids are basically a class of drugs which are used to reduce inflammation. Okay. Now, a steroid is basically made. Cortisol is actually the hormone which is made by our body and is made in situations of stress. So when your body is under attack and there is stress, the body makes the steroid hormone to try and compensate and help the body acclimatize in that time. Now, steroids, these drugs have been used for a long time. They're used to treat multiple conditions, whether it's inflammation, like arthritis. It's sometimes used to treat asthma. It is used as an immunosuppressant to treat cancers also. The long-term use of these drugs, though these drugs are very good in the short term, we do know that when these drugs are used for a long time, that means for prolonged duration, they have a lot of side effects.
All right, side effects, we'll just talk about that. But before that, Dr. Mathur, how does it help in fighting COVID-19, the steroids?
So, steroids are basically, they reduce little bit of inflammation. So, it was noted in the study in UK that in COVID, if you give steroids, in some part of the illness, then the inflammatory part, which is little more than what you would like to have in a patient, would get little reduced. And they were helpful, and they are helpful to an extent that if properly used, they will reduce the body's reaction, the inflammatory reaction, and bring it down to certain level which is required. But it comes with the caution that it should neither be used too early when it is not required, and used with constant monitoring. And some doctors should be monitoring all the parameters very closely while the patient is on steroids, except if he's taking just 2 or 3 puffs as an inhalation. If the person is on steroids tablets, or the person is on steroid IV injections, then he has to be monitored closely, even if in certain situation where the availability of bed was not there and he's being monitored, he's being given steroids at home, even then it is to be very, very closely monitored.
It has to be very, very closely monitored. But Dr. Gupta, you were telling us about the side effects of steroids. So what are the possible long-lasting side effects of steroids?
Yes, so steroids are very strong drugs. So steroids are very strong drugs, and they reduce inflammation, and they also cause immunosuppression. When these medicines are used for a prolonged period of time, they can increase blood pressure. Even in the short term, actually, they can increase blood pressure. They increase your sugar. They lower your body's immunity level and increase the susceptibility of your body for secondary infections. These infections could be something like the fungal infection we hear about, the mucormycosis. You can have candida. You can have secondary bacterial infections. It also, over a period of time, can reduce the calcium in your bones and cause osteoporosis. So these are very strong drugs. In fact, time and again, Kriti, medical science has always developed a second line of drugs in, for example, arthritis. And they're called steroid-sparing drugs because we know that these medicines have long-term side effects. So is there something else, potentially less toxic medicines we can use for those illnesses? Steroid-sparing medicines. So these medicines are not child's play. They're not like taking a multivitamin every day. Nothing of that sort. These are strong medicines. We need to be cognizant when we use them, and we need to be cognizant that they have to be under a medical supervision and not to be taken or just like popping any other pill.
Absolutely. This has to be strictly under medical supervision. That's the point that we're trying to drive home. But we were also talking about what time and in what measure it has to be taken. Dr. Mathur, steroids to treat COVID. In what cases and what point does it become absolutely necessary?
So in COVID, initial phases, you will find that the patient has viral infection and the virus replicates. And if you give steroids at that stage, then it may be counterproductive. It may enhance the production, the replication of the virus because it reduces the immunity of the body. And it may be counterproductive if the steroids are started too early. Usually in the second week, after 7 days, the inflammation starts and it increases, and that is usually the time when the steroids will be useful if need be. Usually they are given if the saturation is falling. Sometimes they may be given even earlier, but usually they would be indicated if the saturation of oxygen in the body is falling. So it has to be under doctor's supervision, and he has to closely monitor the blood parameters, the sugar levels, and even other parameters. Many investigations serially would be required while the patient is on steroids.
Dr. Gupta, we also heard earlier that steroid use too early may be causing drop in oxygen. What is your take on it?
Yeah, Kriti, so this is something which we saw, some data which came out of the earlier trials. And what the thought, I'll tell you how the entire story went. When we were, if you think about it, this disease is only a year and a half old, right? I mean, before December 31st, 2020 to December 21st, 2019, 99.99% of the world didn't even know anything there was COVID, right? I mean, the virus was it's only in middle December that we heard about the first pneumonia and then the NEJM publication. So this is a very new illness, and every day we are learning something new about it. What we learned in the initial part of the illness was that there's a lot of inflammation which we find in this illness. There is this inflammation which was completely getting out of control, and we didn't know what it was all about. So we started giving, and that is when the role of steroids came in, because steroids are an anti-inflammatory drug. So when we started doing that, we saw that. So we started doing that in the second part of the illness. Then we said, what? If we started in the first part of the illness, can we kind of prevent the second part of the illness, which is the cytokine storm phase? Can we try and prevent that? So, this was studied very closely, and what we found was there was not much benefit. In fact, there was more clinical harm. Okay, this harm was because so in the first part of the illness, the virus is kind of replicating in your body, like Dr. Mathur said. The virus is replicating in your body, and your body's immune system is trying to fight it. In the second part of the illness, after the first 7-8 days, the body has kind of curbed the virus down, and now your immune system is hyper-reacting. So the use of steroids is in the second part of the illness where the body is hyperreacting. And in the first part of the illness, when the virus is actually replicating in your body, if you give steroid, it causes immunosuppression and reduces the body's ability to fight the virus. So that is why the entire thought came about. That is what we've learned about that systemic steroids, that oral steroids, IV steroids in the first part of the illness, unless and until it is under the supervision of a doctor, the indications were given by Dr. Mathur that, if you are having persistent fever, if you're having bad cough, or if your oxygen saturation starts dropping, those are some of the only indications for steroids.
Absolutely. So you talked about immunosuppression, and for our viewers, making it in more lucid terms, Dr. Mathur, how does it impact our immunity?
So it will, the steroids will reduce our, it is an immunosuppressant. So it will bring down the immunity, and so we will be more susceptible to infections. So other infections like some bacterial infection or some fungal infection, we will be more susceptible. So we have to be very careful, in our care of these patients once they are on steroids, that they do not get some other infection. And that infection can come from any route. It can come from the air, it can come from eating, or it can come from anything. And that's what we have seen, that some of the patients who had been on steroids, as Dr. Sap just told you, have developed a thing called black fungus or mucormycosis. That incidence of it is little bit on rise.
All right, so we'll just understand about mucormycosis in just a bit. But before that, Dr. Gupta, there are thousands of patients who are in home isolation right now. Are patients in home isolation given steroids? What should they do? What is your advice to them?
So, patients in home isolation are usually patients with mild symptoms, and their oxygen saturation is above 94%. They don't have pneumonia. They may have some fever, right? And these patients do not need steroids, right? If your oxygen saturation is fine, if you don't have much in terms of fever, you have a mild runny nose, maybe a little bit, 101, 102 fever, you do not need steroids, right? But a short course may be required in some people, but that is under strict medical supervision. And that is if they have like really bad cough, if they have high fever, if the cough is not coming down, that is when you would start the steroid. Or if you see the oxygen saturation starting to drop, that is when you would start using steroids. Now, the steroids are of two types, right? One is the oral steroid that everybody's using, the dexamethasone, the methylprednisolone, the hydrocortisone. Those are the oral steroids. Now, there is also inhaled steroids. Inhaled steroids are ones in which you take a pump and you inhale them with a deep breath, and they go directly into your lungs. There has been some data that those inhaled steroids, if started early, can have clinical benefit. There is some data for that. But once again, this is taken only under medical supervision. It should not be taken without medical supervision, because even inhaled steroids can increase your risk of having oral fungus. So, Candida is a superimposed infection, which we do see in patients who are taking chronic inhaled steroids. So these are just some things to be cognizant about. Once again, like Kriti and we've been talking about, that steroids are not child's play, right? I mean, this is not like something simple. They are very good drugs. They're very useful drugs when used in the right context, but they have to meet indication, and they have to be taken under strict medical supervision.
Absolutely, and we've been reiterating that rely on medical supervision only, and as you said, it is not a child's play. But Dr. Mathur, you were talking about this black fungus disease that we're hearing now, this rare fungal disease. So are we to understand that are steroids behind the spike in these mucor cases? The government has repeatedly been given the advisories on this rare fungal disease. What is your take, sir? What is your advice?
Yeah, the steroids are contributing to this black fungus. This black fungus is actually, we call it mucormycosis, and it is rhino-orbitocerebral mucormycosis, meaning thereby nose, eye, and even the brain gets affected. So first of all, the nose gets affected, then it travels to eye, which is just adjacent to the nose, and then it reaches the base of the skull and goes to the brain. So rhino-orbitocerebral mucormycosis, the incidence of this is a little bit on rise. See, this disease as such is very uncommon disease in normal circumstances. In pre-COVID times, it was a very, very rare disease. It's not a usual disease. The cases are very, very few, that so much so that you will see in a busy hospital not more than 4 or 5 cases in a year. And but their incidence has increased to 2 or 3 times. It is still rare. It should be noted that it is still very, very rare to happen. It's not that it has that every case who's diabetic or given steroid will develop mucormycosis. Not. It will not happen that way. But what it was and what it is now, we have, though it was very rare, it has doubled or tripled, but still remains rare. So this must be understood. It happens because of the steroids. It can happen because of the COVID causing immunocompromise by the disease itself, or it could happen because of the COVID causing a thing called endotheliitis. You know, the blood vessels, inside the blood vessels, there is a lot of inflammation, and there is it produces little clotting, and that particular part of the body will get less blood supply. Now, that particular part of the body which gets less blood supply, be it nose or eye or the brain, and if the fungus reaches there, then also it could cause a little more trouble. So these are, but the steroid contributes quite significantly because it raises the blood sugar, and but as such in the pre-COVID time also, this disease, rhino-orbitocerebral mucormycosis, is very common in the patients who are diabetic. Now, we should also know the signs and the symptoms and things like that we can discuss about it. But this is true that the steroids are contributing for this illness.
Dr. Mathur, please go ahead. You were telling us about the signs and the symptoms. Please go ahead, sir.
So the patient will usually present, with the facial pain, pain here on the face, on one particular part of the face. In fact, it will be localized to start with, maybe on the cheek or maybe on the eye. There will be facial pain over the face, on the sinuses or onto the nose, and also extending later on to the teeth and the gum. And then there will be paresthesias. That patient will say that there is a numbness when he touches here. There is a numbness on the face, on one half of the face. Or then the patient could develop some discoloration. The nasolabial fold here, or the ala here, or the nose tip, it becomes little discolored. It becomes blue or it becomes black. And the perialar regions will start turning little blue and then black. And there will be a lot of crusting in the nose, and there will be some discharge coming out, which will be brown or a little blood tinged, which will come out. And there will be a lot of crusting, and then there could be there will be conjunctival congestion, that the eye will start turning little red, and there will be a lot of edema then appear onto the lids or below the eye. So much so the eye will stop opening up because of a lot of swelling there. So eye will become swollen and it will not open up, and that will be periorbital sort of a swelling. And then the vision will get affected, that the patient will say that I can't see clearly, or I'm seeing double when I'm moving the eye. And then the vision, the optic nerve, if it gets affected, then the vision gets affected. And then if it goes into the brain, then the symptoms of affection of the brain will come. And if it goes down, then the palate will get ulcerated. There could be some hole there, or there could be loosening of teeth, And so it is quite a disfiguring sort of a illness which can happen. So these are the signs and the symptoms. So the early signs should be looked into by the patient and the doctors, and which are the facial pain here on one side of the face, some swelling onto the face, or the eye getting swollen.
All right, so we have to be very, very cautious and watch out for these symptoms. But Dr. Gupta, I'd also like to understand, do all steroid-based drugs pose a considerable risk of mucormycosis?
So the steroids in general, as a class of drugs, they are immunosuppressants, and there are 4 or 5 steroids which are commonly used. Now, the difference in these steroids depends upon the potency of each steroid. For example, hydrocortisone, X amount of hydrocortisone is equal to this much amount of dexamethasone, which is equal to this much amount of prednisolone. So there are 4 or 5 class steroids which are there, and as a class effect, they are immunosuppressed. So yes, they do. If used in high doses, then definitely used in the high doses in the subset of populations, or even in moderate doses in the subset of population, does increase your risk of mucormycosis. Now, the other steroids that we are talking about, the inhaled steroids. I don't think there's any data to show that inhaled steroids by themselves increase the risk of mucormycosis.
All right, so time for closing comments from both my guests. Dr. Mathur, use of steroids without medical supervision is highly dangerous and can result in severe fatalities. So your closing comments on this.
Yeah, the steroids, if given, should be very well supervised, and you should be under some doctor supervision whenever you take steroids, and take the steroids to the minimal possible time in COVID, which the doctor subscribes, and don't keep taking it for a prolonged period beyond what is required. And about the mucormycosis, I just want to add one thing. Usually the symptoms of mucormycosis, in case very rarely it happens, but in case it is happening, would be around 3 weeks, 3rd week of the illness. So be careful about the steroids if you are taking and you're developing any facial pains or over the sinuses or the paresthesias or the discoloration over the face.
All right, Dr. Gupta, during this pandemic era, all of us have seemed to become doctors and propagating the medical prescriptions on our social media platforms. What is your word of caution?
I think, medicine is a science, and it's a science which is individualized. So, like the same way we've seen that COVID affects A person differently, B person differently, and C person completely differently, right? The same virus has completely different effects on the 3 people. Similarly, it is important that the treatment also be individualized. Let's not try and go for herd mentality, mass mentality, Dr. WhatsApp or Dr. Twitter. Consult a real in-person live doctor who can try and tailor your treatment as it is required. Don't go for the herd mentality, and we will get over this pandemic together. We are in it together. Please vaccinate yourself, everyone. I still, earlier today I was doing 4 or 5 teleconsultations, and believe me, Kriti, when I say this, I'm an interventional cardiologist. All my patients are patients with heart disease. 3 out of those 5 patients were asking me vaccinated despite their eligibility, and they were asking me, should I get vaccinated? So please get yourself vaccinated. If you have any questions whatsoever, please reach out to your doctors and get them clarified now, because it is only with vaccinations that this pandemic is going to end.
You made 2 very important points, Dr. Gupta, and I'd also like to elicit his perspective, Dr. Mathur's perspective on that. Sir, individualized treatment and vaccination. Your take, Dr. Mathur.
The vaccination is, as very much highlighted by Dr. Sameer Gupta, it is the way to fight this disease. So vaccination is the only way that will bring us out of this pandemic. And it is as early as possible, the whole population has to get vaccinated, and there is no doubt about it. And the individualized treatment, yes, every patient who is having COVID will have to have its own prescription under the care of a doctor, and especially in the cases where patients are getting steroids, have to be closely monitored.
All right, Dr. Gupta, I give you the last word on the show. So there are no medications that are not given without any thought and caution. How do you drive home this point?
Absolutely. Medicine is a science. It's a science which is based on experience and on the individual person. So everything that is given is really thought of by the doctor and the treating physician and by everyone. And that's how the guidelines are also coming up. Everybody's thinking, seeing what the data is, seeing what the science is, seeing how we can implement that. It sometimes gets very frustrating for the family members or for the individual patient when they see themselves a little helpless and they say, let's do more. But I think the usage of steroids is kind of the hallmark that we are seeing. Doing more sometimes is harmful also. So sometimes you have to do things in the right proportion. And that is where medical intervention and close monitoring and everything else comes in. One more thing, Kriti, I would just like to say, which we are seeing a lot of, is that, oftentimes people are, the beds, at least I can speak for Delhi, the bed situation is now a little bit better. There's some, and Dr. Mathur would also attest to that. There are multiple facilities that have opened up in Delhi NCR as triage facilities where there are oxygen concentrators. A lot of people right now I'm seeing are setting up home ICUs. They are, they're procuring cylinders, they're getting oxygen concentrators, and they are treating the family members at home. Usually, when these things, when you start requiring oxygen, I would say that use these things as a temporizing measure till you can get some inpatient facility open, till you can get a bed in a hospital facility or in one of these medical facilities. Because what I'm seeing a lot of right now is that when people are treating themselves at home and then all of a sudden things go south and now they want an ICU bed. And that brings a lot of panic, a lot of havoc is created, and it brings a lot of stress. And maybe if you are in a medically supervised facility, wherever it might be, whether DRDO, whether any of the other facilities, where there is some medical supervision, you may be a touch better off. Now, I do understand that this is individualized. Not everybody has that option, but it's just something to consider because the ICU bed demands have really increased.
Absolutely. So I'll borrow your sentence to close the show, that medicine is a science based on experience. So please rely on medical supervision only. Well, on that note, thank you so much for joining us on this show today. Well, viewers, that's all we had for you in this edition of India Fights Back. But before that, let me remind you once again, to stay safe from the coronavirus pandemic, remember to wear a face mask and wash your hands and face regularly, and ensure that you maintain physical distancing whenever you're stepping outside. Well, these simple precautions are all it takes to defeat this pandemic. Take very good care and goodbye.